Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar, An Achievable Route to a Modern Financial Close. We are excited to have you here. I'm Tracy Thompson, and I'll be your moderator today. Before we jump in, I'm going to briefly go over a few housekeeping items. This meeting is being recorded. We will also send out the slides as well as a link to the on-demand recording of the webinar within 48 hours. Please keep an eye out for this email if you are interested in viewing the webinar after today or sharing it with any of your colleagues who couldn't make it. Add questions for the presenters in the Q&A section on the panel below. We will respond at the end or provide a follow-up after today's session. With that, let's jump into introductions. I'm going to pass it over to one of our experts, Nargis.
Thank you, Tracy. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much for joining today's presentation provided by Armanino's consulting team. We're very excited to talk with you about a modern financial close process. My name is Nargis Adaran, and I lead Armanino's Blackline practice here. I've been with the firm for 4 years, come from a technology industry background, and during several years in the industry, I have helped many companies in small, medium, and enterprise size across a variety of industries. Very looking forward to talking with you about how we can help you modernize your financial close process and what values we at Armanino can offer to you in that specific area. Nicole Shepard is also joined and we're co-hosting the presentation. Nicole, would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Good morning. Good afternoon. My name is Nicole Shepard. I am the Blackline Implementation Lead here at Armanino. I've been with Armanino a little over 2.5 years, and I come from a corporate accounting background where I've kind of worked in all areas of record to report. I have also implemented Blackline as a user, so I've kind of seen both sides of the process, and I really enjoy helping people find efficiencies in their month-end close process. So looking forward to talking with you all today.
Awesome. Thank you, Nicole. Yeah, you mentioned efficiency. That's what you're gonna hear that more and more from us today. But first, let's start with talking about Armanino, who we are as a firm, very quickly, what services we offer. And then really, before getting into the solution and what we're suggesting as a way that can help automate and modernize your financial close process, what is the problem that we're solving? And that's the manual accounting. It's okay if you're wondering, wait, what? Manual accounting? We have sophisticated tools. What do we mean by that? Exactly, that's where we're going to explore that area a little more and how you can reduce the cost of manual accounting. We'll introduce you to Blackline's solution and its offering and its robust and sophisticated, easy to adapt methodology that has been recently introduced, and we've seen a lot of success with it with our clients. And towards the end, we want to give a realistic overview of what to expect and how adapting a solution such as Blackline in order to help you modernize your financial close process really looks like in real life. And that's where Nicole and I will have conversations around some of the examples we've seen, most commonly questions that we get. As Tracy mentioned, please feel free to put in your questions during the presentation in the Q&A and chat box. We're monitoring them and we'll ensure to address them at the end of today's presentation, or we'll reach out to you to set up one-on-one conversations. Without further ado, let's start with a quick overview of Armanino, who we are as a firm and what we do. Armanino is California's largest CPA and consulting firm. We are a coast-to-coast firm with offices from our headquarters being here in California in the San Ramon, all the way to offices towards the east in New York. You can see a list of our locations of offices, employees, and clients. What does this mean to you? It means that no matter where you are, where your business is, we have very likely boots on the ground. And even if that's not the case pre-COVID, we have adopted a way that we were enabled us to work with our clients in the virtual setup and environment and make that personal connection to take the business partnership to the next level. With over 2,000 employees across the firm, we support our clients in a wide variety of industries. Today, as mentioned in the beginning, we are coming from the consulting team, but I wanted you to also know that if you have any needs or areas, needs in the areas of audit, tax, RAS, or wealth management, Armanino can really be your one-stop shop for all those business needs. If any of the services you see on screen is something that you'd like to explore more, please feel free to reach out, and we'd be happy to connect you with the right people at Armanino who can help you with the questions that you have or areas that you're trying to figure out, or maybe just get some thoughts on it. In addition to that, I'd like you to know about the industry specialization that exists here at Armanino. We have industry-specific firms. You're seeing only a few number of industries that we represent as a firm. I'd like to encourage you to go to our website, check out those industries. And again, what does this mean to you? It really is about the services that we offer, and the people that are here at Armanino are not only experts in using the tools or the solutions, but they really come from specific industries. So when it comes to hiring, we have intentionally adapted ways and processes that make sure that we have resources who come with specific industry backgrounds so that we can have a more productive and knowledgeable conversation with our client and be more of a value to you. One thing that I am very proud of, and at the same time I'm not surprised, it's when it comes to customer satisfaction. As a result of all that, intentional hiring processes and purposeful, goal-driven, our goal is really to make sure that we're bringing value to our clients. What does value mean? How responsive are we to our clients? What is the quality of the work that we bring to the table? Are we waiting for you to come and tell us there is a problem? Or are we proactively coming to you and helping you in certain areas? Would it be consulting, tax, or audit? As a traditionally accounting firm, we're proud that our Net Promoter Score, which measures customer satisfaction, is almost 3 times over the industry average. And we're playing with big companies that are known for the amazing customer success that they offer, including Amazon, Apple, Google, BMW, those companies that have a good reputation when it comes to customer satisfaction, or generally speaking. That is really where, especially when it comes to our working in the consulting space, that there's a lot of human interaction. That personal touch adds a lot of value and means a lot. There is a true Armanino story that interestingly connects with the Blackline implementation, which is our topic for today. Think about it. Can you ever think, if somebody asks you, can a successful Blackline implementation save a marriage, what would you think? What a stupid question. Like, what's the connection between the two? Well, we do have a true Armanino customer story that I'll share with you towards the end. So hang in there. I'll come back to it. And this is one of my favorite stories and memories that we've had here at Armanino. All right, so let's continue with talking really about the manual accounting and what we mean by that. Believe it or not, close to 50% of companies in the US, according to a research and study done by Gallup, are not leveraging automation when it comes to activities such as GL reconciliation. Now, these manual accounting processes, when it comes at the end of every month, when we're closing the books and going through that process, there are endless spreadsheets and works that are being repeated at the end of every month in order to close the books and get the data ready for management for reporting purposes. Now, this is happening at the end of every single month. By the time you're done with closing the month, guess what? The next month-end close process is about to start. And you may be saying, hey, Nargis, wait a minute. We're using ERP solutions and we have sophisticated technology tools. On the other side, we have consolidation tools and reporting tools. What do you mean manual? What is manual? And you have a great point, because yes, those tools are needed in order to run the business. And the area I want to bring your attention to is right in the middle between your ERP and consolidation and reporting tool where things fall through the crack. And there are a lot of Excel spreadsheets that are being emailed back and forth. There's no visibility on who did what. Did the person who create the document also the one who approved it? In case someone is out of office and we need approval in order to get to the next step in the process, what are we going to do? Are we going to wait, or do we even know that that person is out of office and the process is stopped because of that reason? So that's where a tool, an automated tool, can come into place and give you a lot of visibility. This comes at a very high cost to organizations. To just highlight 4 of the top ones, obviously the very clear one is time. It takes too long, and it's risky. We hear from our clients that organizations can close the process on time, but they're not confident in the completeness and detail of the activities. Things are people-driven, and it's hard to see. There's lack of visibility and accountability in this environment. Is like, who did this, and did this get through the right approval process or not? Today, we see a lot of manual accounting processes. They're manual because they're being handled by people. People are costly. And that means we think that we can automate more by adding more headcount. But again, when processes change, the user adoption, transitioning data from one employee to the other, educating and onboarding them, all these can be very costly. And just imagine working in such an environment, the employee morale and productivity will quickly go down. We hear commonly from people, I wasn't hired, I didn't sign up to match Excel spreadsheets. I thought my work is going to be a lot more exciting. And that's a fair statement, because from an organizational standpoint, you probably have hired a master's in finance and accounting to do the things that a software solution can do, or a 10-year-old can do if you teach them. And it's not the best use of resources when it comes to leading and managing these manual processes at the end of the month. So the good news is that there is a solution, and that's what we're talking about. And that is the Blackline Accounting Cloud. It gives you visibility. It strengthens the controls in your organization. You have full confidence about who created, who approved, when did it happen, and who did what on which set of data. And as Nicole mentioned earlier, it's all about efficiency. We're doing a repetitive task at the end of every single month. Is there a better way to do it? And then ultimately, are we reducing the business complexity by giving everyone visibility and helping people feel confident about how data flow from one department in the organization to the next? To dive a little deeper into this, I want to start with, I'll walk you through the slide. There's a lot of details in here. So let's focus on the yellow boxes at the bottom where it says core, streamlined, and automated close. Blackline, after doing so many implementations and working with hundreds of customers, they came up with the modern accounting playbook, which is a quick way for companies, especially in mid-market and lower enterprise, to adopt the solution. The beauty of it is that you don't need to boil the ocean in the beginning and implement everything and buy everything and then figure out whether or not this is the right tool for you. You can start small, and as your company grows, you can adopt additional modules and additional services. So it's not an overwhelming process. We'll start with automating the reconciliations and streamlining our task management processes, and then also bringing data from your bank to match with your GL data, and that's it. Now, if you have this is a very common scenario that not only Blackline, but we here at Armanino have seen generate quick results and bring efficiency to organizations very quickly. it's not only that you can see the ROI of your investment very quickly, but also when it comes to user adoption and completing the implementation process. Now, then you say, okay, Nargis, this is great. We acquired the core, but we have needs for better managing the journal entries, or we can also use some help with variance analysis or other services that Blackline offers. That's where it would be like an additional phases that we can work together to put that timeline together with you according to your business needs and help you grow. So what I want you to take away from this slide is when it comes to automating all those spreadsheet emails, manual conversations, instant messages, all that can be put into a solution such as Blackline, and then with increased efficiency, more confidence in the data and visibility into how we went through the process and how we completed our month-end close process. And more importantly, the time that you're going to save. We see at least companies spend on average about 10-15 days to close their books at the end of every month. That can significantly be reduced to 3 to 5 days, and you're done confident with the results that you brought and everything that you assessed during the process. And then provide the data to your executive leadership for planning and budgeting purposes, making sure that you have accurate data that you can rely on and you can trust. From your standpoint, what we hear from our clients is, okay, great, another solution, it's going to take us forever to implement it, not with Blackline and with MAP implementation methodology. We can get you up and running within 60 to 90 days. Then that's a very aggressive timeline. If you're up for it, we can shorten the timeline and work with you to get you up and running faster than that. Our team is only focused on doing the implementation of Blackline and helping you be successful with it. The reason for the date range, it really depends on clients' availability and resource availability to give us the data and make business decisions to help us move the project forward. Another advantage of Blackline is its ecosystem. So you will be connected with people and organizations within your industry, so that you can collaborate with and learn from and connect with, and just share learnings and knowledge and how we're best using the technology to advance our business. And the last one is really my favorite one, and we hear that a lot from our clients. Even though there might be multiple solutions for financial close management out in the market, what I want you to really keep in mind when evaluating multiple solutions is this solution going to grow and expand and scale as your business needs grow? What do we mean by that? You think that you're going to go IPO in 2 years, or you're going to be acquired in next year, or you're acquiring a company, or you're growing internationally, or you're bringing different requirements that are going to be very unique to your organization. Is the solution that you're going to adopt able to meet all those needs? Or are you just buying a quick fix, a Band-Aid solution that's going to help you close the process, Excel driven, but 2 years from now, guess what? You'll be at a point that you need to again decide whether or not that's the right solution for you. The beauty of Blackline is, as I mentioned in the beginning with MAP, you start small. We're not boiling the ocean, where everything is manageable. There is an extremely efficient and at the same time sophisticated training methodology that helps your team members to start adapting the tool and using it so that you get that quick ROI as quickly as possible. So that's, if there's one takeaway from this slide, think about the scalable solution. And if you have been through any software implementation in the past, I also want you to keep in mind the quick project plan that we can get you live within 60 to 90 days. And then additional, what else? What more can you tell me, Nargis, about the MAP and Blackline? Segregation of duty in the beginning, we talked about feeling confident about the processes and whether or not the data is auditable. We don't want the person who prepared the documents to be the approver for that. Manual processes do not allow us to do that, but when there is a system in place, we can that could be an auditable trail. How fast are we able to close activities? Or do we have the right level of approvals set in any document, on any document, and whether or not do we give people in our organization visibility to know where things stand? Are we can we incorporate, in addition to standard controls and procedures, can we incorporate our custom processes that we have in the solution? How flexible is the solution? Are we going to adopt to the solutions processes, or is solution flexible enough that we can mold it around our unique business requirements? Nicole, I'm sure you've seen this many, many times. Anything else you'd like to add to what I said here?
No, not really. I think you've covered most of the larger items that people are typically concerned with: the visibility, the accuracy, the segregation of duties. Yeah.
All right, perfect. So with that, we'll continue with, I really want to bring back this slide for a quick minute. In the beginning, we said, okay, we have an ERP, we have the consolidation reporting tool, and now right in the middle, we said that's where things fall through the crack. We address how Blackline can help us here to be more efficient. And if we were to replace that, that's exactly where a tool, financial close management tool such as Blackline, falls between your ERP and consolidation and reporting. So next, I want to talk a little about the implementation timeline. And okay, fantastic. Now we have a tool that can help us with managing our tasks more effectively, making sure we have it. We're not repeating certain processes that could be shortened, or it could take less time. When it comes to reconciliations, are we automating them to the extent possible? Transaction matching, how many data sources? Oh, another important thing I want you to know is that another beauty of Blackline is this tool is data source agnostic, meaning as long as we can export data from a data source, we can bring it to Blackline and play with it. For example, let's say for matching purposes. Our clients get really creative with for example, this matching scenario, that matching thing one with thing two, A and B together, and it could be so many scenarios. It's not like you can get as creative as you want when it comes to those scenarios. Journal entries, depending on how sophisticated your ERP tool is or your business needs, even though your ERP might be able to handle journal entry transactions, you may decide to run a specific set of journal entries in Blackline and then send it to your ERP for further processing. Again, if any of these modules are we're not here to talk specifically about any of these modules and the benefits that they all bring, but we really want you to know, as far as that big picture, at the end of every month, you're going through certain manual processes, and the message I want you to take away is you can automate that. You can save time, you can reduce risk, you can increase your visibility, confidence in the processing of all that data. Fantastic. But what does it take to get it? Well, as I said, the project plan is pretty straightforward. There are already templatized processes in place that we leverage. So we're not creating or reinventing the wheel every time we do these implementations. It not only follows Blackline best practice for implementation and recommendation, but it also, we are incorporating our many years of experience implementing Blackline as well as other solutions out in the market to make sure that we're bringing the most to our clients. Another thing I want you to know is Armanino so far is Blackline's certified, only certified map implementation partner on the West Coast, even though we serve clients nationally. From a regional standpoint, that's where our offices are located. So that's why I mentioned the West Coast part. Okay, so the directional implementation timeline for MAP, we start with, it's usually, again, as I said, 60 to 90 days. We sit down together, understand your business requirements. Based on that, we go back to the solution, we configure the system, we come back with validating the data and configurations with you. Does this look right? Do the processes, are they set up in the way that you expected? And then we go through the testing and training together. We take the trainer approach, helping you, your organization to enabling your organization to be able to confidently train other people as they come on board, or if they forget something and need help, they can reach out to someone in your organization. Generally speaking, we provide a wide variety of services when it comes to training and testing that we can get into in a few minutes when Nicole and I dive a little deeper into that topic. Once you feel confident and give us a green light about after you do your testing and everything, and we do that all together, we go ahead and move everything to your live instance. We stay with you until you successfully close the first month before we transition you to Armanino and Blackline support team. We're not going anywhere. This is just the beginning of our hopefully continued partnership together. And I want you to know that, you know, as mentioned, these are all, that last slide that you saw was very high level. I'm showing you this so that you're aware that all these processes, it's clear who's doing what. This is what Armanino is going to do. We're going to need you to make business decisions, provide us with the data. So when you're testing, the testing process is meaningful to you. Very little help from IT because we're not doing any custom coding or anything. It's really about configuration and setting you up in the environment. So with that, before we transition to Q&A, I promised you to share a story with you, and that is, can a successful Blackline implementation save a marriage? The answer is yes. And as I mentioned, this is a really, I was touched by this story, and this is a real Armanino story. So one of our clients, after we did their implementation, they came to us and said, I'm so happy we did this, made this investment. And to be honest, it really saved my marriage. And we're like, what's the relationship? Probably the same reaction that you all had when I shared this in the beginning. By freeing up time at the end of every month, our client was able to gain time back to be at the dinner table with their family. And it's just invaluable when it comes to the impacts that we can make. We weren't there just to help them buy Blackline and implement it, but we gave them time back. We helped them, not that we did it. What we helped them get time back to be at the dinner table. Now you may say, okay, I'm single or I don't have a partner, and that sometimes come up. You know, just get some free time and go do whatever you like to do. Maybe read that book that you always wanted to read, or watch that documentary you always wanted to watch, or just do nothing. Or if you really want to go through the financial close process at the end of every month, do it within a more automated way rather than going through Excel spreadsheets. So as promised, that's the story that talks about, you know, also I just want to reemphasize, we're not here for a business transaction. We're here to have a long-term partnership with our clients. We are confident in the services that we provide, and we look forward to expand our partnership and serve our clients in as many areas as we're capable of and we can. So with that, we're going to go into the Blackline implementation best practices, and I'm going to ask Nicole to help me here. So let's go ahead and do that. So Nicole.
Yes.
All right. Anything else, anything you'd like to add before we kick us off and with the implementation best practices?
No,
So
you've
far,
done a great job of covering all the big points. As mentioned, Blackline creates the efficiencies. There's a lot of ease in adoption. We do the trainer approach. Yeah, I can't think of anything else to cover.
All righty, super. Thank you very much. So let me start by asking you this question. When we introduced MAP, we mentioned that there are three of all the modules that Blackline offers. We're starting with three modules: account reconciliation, task management, and transaction matching.
Correct.
Why these three modules, and what are the benefits?
Those are typically the biggest pain points in a closing month-end close process for clients, and they're also the most manual. And so getting those out of Excel into a solution where there's higher visibility, higher accuracy, less hands-on, it makes everyone's life easier. It's a great place to start. And doing them all combined just makes sense. And so that's pretty much why we're starting there. But and again, it has the segregation of duties. So you're getting out of Excel, you're getting people into one system. It has built-in segregation of duties. So there's obvious tasks that people have to do. But then you're also getting not only your reconciliations, your close lists, and multiple close lists if you have various ones, et cetera. So they kind of work hand in hand. And so it makes sense just to implement them all at one time.
Absolutely. And I'd also add that when it comes to, as said in the beginning, you can change that scope. You don't have to start there if you have additional needs and you'd like to, adopt more modules. It's just like a best practice, as Nicole mentioned, and where the biggest pain points that we see clients have. So thank you for that. You mentioned about the train the trainer approach. Can you elaborate a little more on that? And, what's Armanino's approach in enabling clients adopting a new solution such as Blackline?
Sure. So Armanino's approach with the way we handle implementations is that, going into this, you are the expert on your business. We are the expert on the software, and we're kind of trading that information as we go through the process. And so by the time we're done with the implementation, we want you to be an expert, but we also want you to be able to teach your team. So if you have new people, new users, et cetera, you should be able to train those users on how to adopt the software as well. So that's kind of how we handle that.
Yeah. And Nicole, we talked about the 60 to 90 days implementation timeline. Obviously, that's what we see on average across most of our Blackline implementations, but there are cases that, things may go longer than that. What are the common reasons that cause delay or may possibly extend the project timeline?
The biggest delays usually come from resource capabilities on the client team side because there are users, or the client team is the accounting team. They have an actual job to do. We know that you are occupied with month-end close and maybe audits or whatever else may be going on in your life. And so sometimes that will have to take precedence, and that's totally understandable. And so that can cause delays. Those are usually really the biggest ones. It's just resource capabilities, because honestly, I've seen implementations go faster than 60 days. I've seen them in 30 days. It just depends on how much time the team has to dedicate to the process.
And your team, can you talk for our audience a little about your team's flexibility as far as working with clients' schedules? What would it take if a company wants to finish project in 30 days? How would it work? Would you be able to adjust the timeline to do it 30 days, or maybe educate our audience on that?
So typically we have the capabilities to work on the schedule that you guys want to work on. We have multiple clients at one time, obviously, but if you guys are dedicated to closing something at a shorter amount of time, then we're going to give that same amount of effort. And so we usually just kind of make it so that our schedules can balance whatever the client needs us to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. So obviously having a solution in place and, just enable team, fantastic. Yep. Our auditors are going to show up at some point and go through the processes. Can you talk a little bit about the auditability of processes and documents in Blackline, and just how would that conversation change when a company starts leveraging a tool like Blackline?
Certainly. So I've been asked to sit on several audit questionings about the system, and typical things they like to walk through is the segregation of duties, making sure the system can enforce that, and it does inherently. walking through the different audit trails that are there in every screen. So everything you do is being recorded by the system. It's kept there and can be reported on. There's multiple reports within the system that can be used to provide to the auditors as a point of certification. So showing that you certified your account reconciliations in a specific amount of time, showing that you had sign-offs on all of your closing items as of a specific date, showing that you've gone over, user access, that kind of deal, the things that auditors are typically worried about. All of the reporting capabilities and all the data is there in Blackline for them to see.
Great. And I want to quickly remind our audience, please, if you have any questions, put them in the chat or Q&A section, and we'll go through them after the webinar, or if we don't have enough time, we'll make sure that we follow with you individually. Nicole, I briefly talked about Blackline being a data agnostic tool.
Yes.
It's very important that Blackline connects with at least ERP system and in matching scenarios with the data sources that we're pulling the data from. So can you talk a little bit about the integration points, and maybe if there are standard connectors, and if there's not, what are the solutions and how can Armanino add value in those areas?
So Blackline does have standard connectors with a few systems, namely NetSuite, Intact, and Great Plains, where it's kind of a set it and go kind of deal. Their technical people will connect it to the system, and it automatically will just feed the data into it based on the specifications that they've already created. Otherwise, there are templates that we will provide to the clients where they can create their own reports to pull from the ERP and then either choose some automated or not. There is a FTP site, a secure FTP site that can be used for the automation purposes that goes through Blackline that only the client can access. So again, it is secure, has logins, you can access it through PUB keys, etc. But it's all fairly simple to set up. And again, because it's in a template, it's very straightforward. There are specific things that are needed, specific things that the system can accept. And once we get that set up, you can just kind of set it and forget it.
Yeah, and in cases that there is not an out-of-the-box solution, Armanino's integration team can help with building custom integrations. And I want to emphasize that that team is it's it's separate division at Armanino. It's not a one person doing everything, implementation, integration, and all that. They, however, work very closely together to make sure that we're addressing and we're hearing you from not only the solution, but also on the integration side. So they work very collaboratively together. But when it comes to having specific certifications and knowledge expertise in those certain domains, they all are fully certified in those areas. So Nicole, anything else you'd like to add?
No, that's a great point.
Okay, cool. Maybe final question that I have for you is, what is really Armanino, like generally speaking, when it comes to these kind of implementations, what is Armanino's value prop? You talk about the team of implementations, what else do we get when clients, what else do we offer when it comes to making sure that we have a successful project and a successful long-term partnership?
I think you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but it's just the access to the broader scope of knowledge. Most of us consultants, implementation team, come from an accounting background, but if we're not experienced in something that may be coming up with a client, there's someone in the company that we can reach out to who has had that experience. We're doing a couple of different health checks and things like that for several clients, and we're able to lean on the different advisory services that are available. And if there are tax issues or audit issues, things like that, there are experts that we can reach out to that are within company. So it's kind of nice that it's a one-stop shop, so that if we run into issues, we've got someone to talk to.
Absolutely. And if by far you're not convinced about the level of commitments that we bring to making sure that you have a successful project, I'd like to add that with your Blackline in addition to the Blackline implementation team led by Nicole and her team, you will be assigned, we provide you an executive sponsorship to your account, making sure that there's a executive person, usually a partner at Armanino, who will work with you to strategize on the broader business plan that you have or in rare cases to be a point of escalation. You will have a client manager who will work with you as you're going through the Blackline implementation, and then also adapting additional phases. As we mentioned, like we're starting small, but we're moving on to additional phases as your company becomes more comfortable using the solution. And then and a huge component is you'll have one, no matter how many projects you have at the same time. We do our best to have one project manager resource. So that would be one person when it comes to communication and scheduling meetings and all that, making all things easier and more efficient on your side, even when it comes to managing your project, would it be Blackline or any other service that Armanino is offering. So that brings us to the end of our presentation for today. I want to thank you all. Nicole, thanks very much for your partnership.
Thank you.
Putting all this together, it would not have been made possible. And I also want to give a huge shout out to Tracy and our marketing team who did all the hard work in the background to make this happen and possible. So with that, I guess we'll open it up to Q&A. You see Nicole's and my contact information. We really look forward to hearing from you. Give us some feedback. How valuable was this webinar? Did you learn something? Were you looking for some other information that we can probably put together in the future? But in any ways, thank you very much for your time. We look forward to connecting with you in the very near future. Nicole, any final words?
No. Exactly what you said. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Thank you. So Tracy, let's see if I'll pass it back to you. You tell us where we go from here.
Perfect. Thanks, Nargis. Thank you, Nicole. That was awesome content. Let me pull up a question that we had here. One second. We did have a question in the chat. Can we have more details on the Excel spreadsheet? How is it shared between team members, and approval would be in Excel? Is it with SOX compliance? Nicole, are you able to answer this?
Sure, I am. The spreadsheet is really used to get data into the system. This is a cloud-based system, so all of the approvals, the workflows, and the kind of audit trails are going to be within the Blackline system online. So the way that we load most of the data in mass is going to be based on the templates that Blackline provides. And so that's kind of part of the ease of setting everything up. Everything is in a template. You provide us your information. We load it into the system, but then you actually work in the cloud-based platform.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. We did have one or two other questions. What post-live support would Armanino provide after if they went live on Blackline? Nargis, are you able to help answer that one?
Absolutely. As said during presentation, our goal is to establish a successful long-term partnership, and the Blackline implementation is just going to be the first step. So we offer solutions and services that help you with your post-go live initiatives. Sometimes we have clients who start with MAP and they want to add additional modules or Blackline services. So we can help you with planning out those implementation phases. For example, if you want to do journal entry as the next step, you don't need to worry about the planning and timeline of that. We'll be there to support you. Sometimes clients just want to enjoy their ride on the initial MAP implementation for 6 months or to a year. And what we do is we check in with you maybe once a month, once a quarter, depending on your schedule and what makes the business sense to your organization, to sit down to see, how your users are using the solution. Are they adapting it in a nice way? So when it comes to change management, that's one way that we can support you. The other way is that can we increase the matching rate, or do you have new data sources, or just trainings, creating new reporting? In those managed services offering that you get once, as said, in the month or a quarter, depending on your preferences, we can offer those services to help you stay focused on your business and bringing us to the table to help you be current on the latest and greatest of your Blackline implementation.
Awesome. Thank you. And I do have one more. We'd like to see a demo of Blackline. What should we do as next steps?
Oh, reach us, either reach out to me or Nicole or Tracy. Let us, and Tracy, maybe we can follow up with them directly. We can work with your, we'll identify the Blackline executive who will be working on your account, and then we'll take it from there. Just as far as action items, just shoot us a note and we'll get that demo scheduled for you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Nargis.
And there's one question in the chat, Tracy, I can address it.
Oh, okay.
I'm assuming if by accounting software, if you mean ERP, Blackline connects with your ERP system. It's the next level in bringing automation to your organization. So we have AP, AR, GL, everything as the core accounting elements of the accounting software in ERP. When it comes to closing the month, and managing reconciliations and doing it in a specific order to make sure that we're efficient, that's where Blackline comes into play and helps with automating the month-end close processes that we see historically. Companies use a lot of Excel spreadsheets or emails or instant messages in order to close them currently. So is this something that companies can't live without? Really depends on the complexity of the business. It's all about whether leaders in that organization are thinking about growth and being more strategic, saving time and delegating all the tasks that can be handled by a solution to a solution like Blackline, and freeing up resources and talents to focus, make businesses strategic decisions versus doing manual work in the accounting space.
Perfect. Thank you, Nargis. All right. Well, I think that kind of wraps it up for today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We appreciate your time this morning. And again, we will be sending out a follow-up email with a recording and presentation. So with Nargis and Nicole's contact information. So feel free to shoot over an email with any other questions. And with that, we hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you, everyone.